If Dylan Raiola can just not turn the ball over, this team is going to be very difficult to beat. On its face, should Nebraska be favored by 7.5? Yes, but Travis has the ability to affect the game on both sides of the ball. He's the best player, not only on the field, but probably the best non-quarterback in the sport. What happens if Travis Hunter goes off? That's why I can't get down with the 7.5. Shedeur Sanders, even when he was sacked 7 times, went off and still beat Nebraska last year. At times, you just have to say, like, the elite talent is going to win out. I like Colorado in an outright win. I like Colorado 34-31 in an absolute classic in Lincoln.
Okay, Joel Klatt, I'm definitely vibing with the takes that you gave out. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Joel Klatt predicting a Colorado victory over Nebraska in an upset victory, with Nebraska being a 7.5 point favorite over Colorado. This was certainly a bold take for Joel Klatt to spit out on national television. However, Colorado blew out Nebraska by the score of 36-14 the last time those two teams played against each other. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. Will Colorado get an upset win over Nebraska? I'm going to boldly predict yes, and I've seen the betting lines for Colorado and Nebraska, and I understand that the game is at Nebraska, but I am going to roll out with a Colorado win. Why? Because they can score the ball offensively, and what is the running joke with Matt Rhule? If his team allows 17 points or more, they lose every single game. Colorado can score the football. The problem with Colorado is that they can't stop anybody to save their lives. The good news is, though, Nebraska's offense is not that good. Don't get fooled by their week 1 performance. They were playing against an FCS team, and honestly, we've always seen Matt Rhule front run against bad teams, but whenever Matt Rhule has to play against real competition, his teams fold more often than not. Deion Sanders is one of the better coaches in college football. Look, I'm not going to sit up here and idolize Deion Sanders by saying that he is the greatest coach to ever exist. In fact, I'm not even going to say that Deion Sanders is a great coach, but do I think Deion Sanders is a solid head coach? Yes, and I think he's better than Matt Rhule at situational football, mainly because of the fact that Matt Rhule is not very good at situational football. I saw it at Carolina, and now I'm seeing it at Nebraska. Anytime his team has a close game to deal with, what do his teams always do? Fold, and fold. They always find a way to choke those games, and if you're Colorado, you got to score early and quickly. You got to be able to put points on the board. If you're Nebraska, the game plan should be very simple. Run the ball, and figure out a way how to take a lead early, and then front run off of that, because that way the Nebraska defense can start pressuring Shedeur Sanders into making mistakes. Last year, they were able to sack Shedeur Sanders 7 times. However, the problem with Nebraska was they couldn't score on offense, and Colorado is just too explosive of a football team to not score the football. Colorado can score a lot of points on the board. The problem with Colorado is that they can't stop anybody to save their lives. However, Nebraska's offense is not really that good on paper. Their rushing offense is pretty good, but they're not necessarily a great rushing team. Their quarterback situation is better than what it was last year. Right now, they got a 5-star recruit playing at the quarterback position, but you also got to remember that he is a true freshman. This is going to be his first real test against an actual opponent. He played well last weekend, but that was against an FCS team. That was a team where he could go ahead and front run. Nebraska was supposed to blow that team out by a lot of points, and to their credit, they did do that. But I've never criticized Matt Rhule for not being able to beat the teams that he's supposed to beat. Matt Rhule has always been good at that. The problem with Matt Rhule is that he cannot beat teams that have expectations, and Colorado has expectations of making a bowl game this year. The thing that I hate most about Colorado is that their offensive line is flat out horrible. I understand that they got a bunch of transfers in the offseason, but man, those offensive linemen don't look good whatsoever. They play like they don't have any cohesion whatsoever. It also doesn't help that Shedeur Sanders likes to scramble outside the pocket a lot, so I know it's difficult for those offensive linemen to protect Shedeur Sanders. I think Shedeur Sanders could do a better job helping out those offensive linemen, but I don't think the offensive line is very good in general, because I'm watching some of these clips and I'm seeing Shedeur Sanders get pressured within 2 seconds, so he's being forced to scramble outside outside the pocket, which means mistakes are more likely to happen. Now, granted, Shedeur Sanders is a pretty good quarterback in his own right, and he knows how to improvise really well, which is why he's able to withstand pressure so well, and he's able to find receivers like Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn Jr. Obviously, Travis Hunter is coming off of an amazing performance for Colorado against North Dakota State. Yes, I know they were an FCS team as well, but unlike the FCS team Nebraska was playing against, this is an actual FCS team that could legitimately win a Group of 5 conference if they played at the highest level in Division I football. North Dakota State is no joke of a football program. North Dakota State could probably beat Nebraska if they went up against each other right now. North Dakota State is a really good football team, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on those guys. And Colorado had to deal with the difficulties of North Dakota State. Nebraska's offense is good on paper, but they're not necessarily world beaters. What do they like to do most? Turn over the football. If Colorado can force some turnovers from Nebraska's offense, and if they can take advantage of those turnovers early on, I think Colorado is going to be able to put up a lot of points on the board. I don't understand why these bettors are putting Nebraska at 7.5. I don't understand why everybody is so high on Nebraska, considering the fact that Matt Rhule is an extremely overrated coach. And don't tell me, oh, he failed in the NFL because he just wasn't fit for the NFL game and the Panthers set him up to fail. Because although those factors are certainly true, it also does not take away the fact that Matt Rhule does not understand situational football whatsoever. Now, granted, if Nebraska goes up 10-0 early in the game, then yes, I think Nebraska is going to blow out Colorado, and I think Colorado is going to get front ran on because Nebraska is going to be able to run the football, and Nebraska's defense is going to be able to pressure Shedeur Sanders on a consistent basis. However, if Colorado can keep the game 3-3 by the end of the first quarter or something along those lines, if they can keep the game close for the first 15 minutes of the game, I think the game is going to break loose, and I think Colorado is going to be able to take advantage of some of those opportunities and mistakes Nebraska is going to give them. Because I look at Nebraska's tape and I'm thinking, is Nebraska really that good of a team to the point where they're significantly better than Colorado on paper? No, Deion Sanders is a better coach than Matt Rhule. It's not me trying to rave about Deion Sanders. I don't think Deion Sanders is a great head coach, but I also think Deion Sanders is a better head coach than Matt Rhule. The only thing he is good at is being able to front run, but whenever he has to deal with a little bit of competition or a little bit of adversity, his teams always fold more often than not. This is not me hating on Matt Rhule. It's reality that I'm speaking. You look at the resume that he had in Carolina and you look at the resume that he has had at Nebraska, and they always find a way to lose games that are very close. Anytime a game is close heading into the fourth quarter, his teams don't win. And if Colorado has a lead in the fourth quarter, don't be surprised if Nebraska fails to make a fourth quarter comeback, because a Matt Rhule-led team has never made a fourth quarter comeback, at least since I started watching him on the Carolina Panthers. He didn't do it on the Panthers, and he didn't do it at Nebraska last year, and he hasn't faced that situation so far this year. Obviously, at Baylor and Temple, he did a great job rebuilding those programs, but you also have to remember that Baylor and Temple were very poor when playing against ranked teams in college football. So are we really sure Matt Rhule is that great of a football coach at the collegiate level? I'm not saying that he's trash, but I'm saying that he might be a little overrated in terms of how the media is covering Matt Rhule. I don't think he's that great of a college coach, to be completely honest. I honestly think that he is a mediocre college head coach at best. I understand that he is a great rebuilder, but in terms of X's and O's, Matt Rhule scores extremely weak in that department. As far as what the final score is going to be, I got Colorado scoring 34 while I got Nebraska scoring 24. Remember, Matt Rhule-led teams do not make fourth quarter comebacks, and if they allow more than 17 points, they are always going to lose the game. So I think Colorado, they got this game in the bag. They just got to be able to show up on offense, and their game plan should be simple. You show up on offense, you're going to win the game. And I love the analysis Joel Klatt brought up when talking about Colorado versus Nebraska, because he was quick to point out how Colorado has an explosive offense, and that's not really Nebraska's game whatsoever. If Nebraska gets in a shootout with Colorado, they're not going to be able to win this game. It's quite that simple. I think Colorado's going to be able to move on to 2-0, and I think Deion Sanders is going to be able to say that the hype is for real this year. So that is why Colorado will get an upset win over Nebraska, as the final score will end up being 34-24 Colorado. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I'm gonna shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinNasTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNasTran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNasTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.